Florida football experienced one of the oddest seasons in 2020, along with everybody else because of COVID, of course, but they added to it. Actually, Dan Mullen added to it, furthering a brawl at midfield against Missouri, complaining about crowd noise with 22,000 in the stands at Texas A&M, making excuses for a player that threw a shoe that may have cost Florida a chance at going to the college football playoff. A lot of odd things. And then, of course, the complete collapse and debacle and being ill-prepared, unprepared, not ready, unmotivated in the Cotton Bowl against Oklahoma and losing by 5 touchdowns. They're on a 3-game losing streak despite beating one of the most talented teams in the country, winning the SEC Eastern Division, and taking Alabama to a 1-score game in the SEC championship game. Welcome to the Voice of College Football on our rundown of Florida 2021. We'll put 2020 and 8-4 in the rearview mirror, and whatever you think about it, it was a mixed bag for the Gators. What will it be here in 2021? They are ranked around 10 to 15 in the country by the 2 major polls, I believe, at number 11 and 13. Well, for one thing, they don't play any difficult non-conference games, so they should be able to sweep the non-conference schedule as they take that tour of Florida. Let's keep in mind that Florida football, my little commentary here, let's leave the state at some point, has not played a non-conference game on the road, outside of the state of Florida since 1991, going to Syracuse and losing that game. All right, again, they stay in Florida for all these non-conference games. It starts with FAU at home, and then they actually go to South Florida for a bit of a recruiting trip, I guess. I don't know why they're going on the road to South Florida, but hey, the Bulls were awful last year at 1-8, and the Gators should be good in a couple warm-ups right there for the mighty Crimson Tide of Alabama. So a rematch of the 2020 Conference Championship game in the Swamp. Then Tennessee, that should be a win. Kentucky on the road, tricky right there for Dan Mullen's team. Then also keep in mind that they got Vandy. They go to LSU. Of course, that's their non-division rivalry game that they play every year. Bye week before Georgia. That's key. Most people don't believe that Florida can hang with Georgia this year, but if they've got a shot, at least they've got the bye going into the Georgia game. Then they go to South Carolina. They got Samford. They got Mizzou on the road. Some of these games like Missouri, Kentucky, those 2 in particular are going to tell us a whole lot about the Florida football team. They most likely lose to Bama, just like everybody else does. LSU is going to be a hill to climb in Death Valley. Georgia, I see Florida losing those 3 almost certainly. The Bama game's about a 5 to 10% proposition of a win probability at home. LSU's more in the 30-35% range on the road. Georgia's in that range, neutral site. Florida's going to finish off Florida State to conclude the season. They hold ground otherwise, except for one other little trip up. It comes in Lexington. Florida goes to Lexington. They lose to the Wildcats to go 4-4 in the SEC. But because of the Week 9 conference schedule, 8-4 for the Gators to close out the regular season, at least in 2021. Your record predictions down below. Keep in mind that if you like predictions, you got to join us on Patreon. Listen to this. You get my weekly predictions. That should be good enough right there, right? Well, even if it is, you get the predictions of another 15 college football media analysts, guests that we have here on a regular basis, guys like Steve Dace and Steve Hellwagon, Tony Gerdeman, the Wholesome One, and others right here on Patreon. Just go to Patreon, search MarkRogersTV, and you get my predictions, 15 media guest predictions every week. On top of that, you also get the Lock of the Week from Steve Merrill from Pro Sports Info and Wager Talk. All right. Florida's in the books. We will continue our trip through the Power 5 right here at the Voice of College Football. See you next time.